Today, we re-exploring one of nature's most extraordinary biological wonders, a small, unassuming mammal whose armored shell has sparked wild tales, viral videos, and real-life news stories, claiming it can stop a speeding bullet in its tracks. We re-talking about the armadillo, a creature that looks like it walked straight out of prehistoric times, wrapped in a suit of natural body armor that has confused and fascinated humans for centuries. For years, people have swapped stories of bullets bouncing off an armadillo's tough exterior, leaving the animal unharmed and the shooter stunned. But is this just a myth, a lucky accident, or a real superpower built into the armadillo's unique anatomy? Over the next few minutes, we'll strip back the layers of legend, dive deep into the science of the armadillo's shell, examine well-documented, real-world cases, and reveal the full truth behind one of the animal kingdom's most talked-about defensive abilities. Let us start with the basics. What exactly is an armadillo, and where does it come from? Armadillos belong to the order Cingulata, a group of mammals found natively in the Americas, with the highest diversity in South America's tropical and subtropical regions. The most widespread and well-known species is the nine-banded armadillo, which has expanded its range northward into the southern United States, making it the face of the armadillo family for most people. These small mammals have roamed the earth for millions of years, evolving alongside some of the largest prehistoric creatures, and their armor is one of the most successful adaptations in mammalian history. Unlike turtles, whose shells are fused to their internal skeletons, an armadillo's shell is a specialized structure grown directly from its skin, making it the only living mammal on Earth with this type of dermal armor. This key difference explains why the armadillo's shell is both tough and surprisingly flexible, a balance that has helped it survive for millennia. Now, let us get to the heart of the mystery. What is the armadillo's shell made of, and why do people think it can stop bullets? The scientific name for the shell is the carapace, and it is built from two core materials that create an unbeatable natural defense. The foundation is a series of rigid, bony plates, called osteoderms, which form directly within the inner layer of the armadillo's skin. These osteoderms are made of true bone tissue, structured in a mosaic of hexagonal and triangular tiles that interlock like pieces of a medieval suit of armor. Covering this bony base is a thick layer of keratin, the same tough fibrous protein that makes up human fingernails, hair, and animal claws. This combination of dense bone and tough keratin creates a hard protective outer layer that can withstand scratches, bites, and blunt force from the armadillo's natural enemies. The shell is not one solid piece either. It is split into three main sections: a solid shield over the shoulders, a flexible banded section across the midsection, and another rigid shield over the pelvis. In the nine-banded armadillo, the midsection has 9 movable bands, held together by soft, stretchy skin, allowing the animal to bend, twist, dig, burrows, and move quickly through thick brush. Some species, like the 3-banded armadillo, can even roll into a tight, complete ball, tucking their vulnerable, soft underbelly away from danger entirely. This incredible structure is where the bulletproof myth begins, and it's easy to see why people believe it. Over the past 2 decades, there have been multiple verified news reports of people shooting at armadillos and having bullets ricochet off the shell, causing serious injury to the shooter or nearby bystanders. One famous case took place in Georgia in 2015, when a man shot at an armadillo in his yard with a 9mm handgun. The bullet struck the armadillo's curved shell at a shallow angle, bounced off, flew through his back door, and struck his 74-year-old mother-in-law in the back. A few years later, a man in Texas fired a .38 revolver at an armadillo 3 times. One bullet deflected off the shell and hit him directly in the chin, sending him to the hospital with a painful wound. These stories spread like wildfire online, turning the armadillo into a viral sensation labeled nature's bulletproof mammal. But as captivating as these stories are, they do not mean the armadillo shell is truly bulletproof. Far from it. The real science behind these ricochet events is basic physics, not superpowered armor. An armadillo's shell has a smooth, convex, domed shape, similar to a curved metal plate. When a bullet strikes this curved surface at a shallow, glancing angle, the kinetic energy of the bullet is redirected along the curve, instead of being absorbed by the shell. This is called a ricochet, the same effect that makes bullets bounce off hard surfaces like metal, concrete, or even thick wood. The shell's hard bone and keratin surface provides enough resistance to redirect the bullet's path, but it cannot stop or absorb the full force of a speeding bullet. Even small caliber rounds, like a .22 rifle bullet, can easily penetrate the armadillo's shell if they hit head-on at a perpendicular angle. The shell is only about 1/10 of an inch thick in most areas, and while it is tough enough to fend off coyotes, bobcats, foxes, and birds of prey, it is no match for the extreme kinetic energy of a firearm bullet. Biologists and wildlife experts have repeatedly confirmed that the armadillo's shell evolved to protect against natural threats in its habitat: sharp thorns, biting predators, and rough terrain, not against human-made weapons. To fully appreciate the armadillo's armor, we need to understand its true evolutionary purpose. For millions of years, the armadillo's shell has been its greatest survival tool in the wild. These animals are expert diggers, using their strong claws to burrow deep into the soil, to escape danger, find food, and build nests. As they dig and move through dense, thorny brush, their shell shields them from cuts, scrapes, and punctures that would injure or kill other small mammals. When faced with a predator, the armadillo has several defensive behaviors that work with its shell. It can jump straight up into the air to startle an attacker, flee quickly into thick cover, dig a shallow hole, and wedge itself inside with only its shell exposed, or roll into a ball if it is a three-banded species. The shell's design prioritizes flexibility and lightweight strength, not absolute hardness, because the armadillo needs to move efficiently to survive. Carrying a heavy solid shell would slow it down and make it an easy target, so evolution crafted a perfect balance of protection and mobility. Beyond its defensive uses, the armadillo's shell plays other important roles in its daily life. It helps regulate body temperature, acting as a barrier against extreme heat in the hot southern climates where armadillos live. The shell also provides protection while the armadillo forages for food at night. It uses its keen sense of smell to find insects, grubs, termites, and small invertebrates buried in the soil, digging rapidly with its front claws, and using its shell to shield its back from falling dirt and debris. Armadillos are solitary nocturnal animals, spending most of their daylight hours in cool underground burrows, and their shell keeps them safe while they rest in these tight, dark spaces. Even as they expand their range northward, adapting to cooler climates and new environments, their armor remains their most vital adaptation, a testament to the power of natural selection. Now let us separate fact from fiction once and for all. The myth of the bulletproof armadillo persists because the rare ricochet events are dramatic and memorable, but they are statistical anomalies. Scientists estimate the chance of a bullet deflecting off an armadillo's shell and injuring someone is less than 3 in 1 million, depending on the angle, distance, and type of firearm. The shell can slow down or deflect small, low-velocity projectiles, like BBs or airsoft pellets, which is why some people mistake it for bulletproof. But any standard firearm, from a small handgun to a rifle, will penetrate the shell and cause fatal harm to the animal. This is an important reminder that wild animals should never be shot at or harassed, both for their safety and for human safety. Ricochets are unpredictable and can cause serious injury or property damage. The armadillo's shell is still a marvel of natural engineering, even without bulletproof abilities. Biologists, materials scientists, and engineers study the armadillo's osteoderm structure to design better protective gear for humans, from lightweight body armor for soldiers and police officers to impact-resistant helmets and sports equipment. The way the bony plates interlock and flex, absorbing and distributing force, has inspired new composite materials that are stronger, lighter, and more flexible than traditional armor. This is just one example of how wildlife adaptations can drive human innovation, showing us that nature has already solved many of the engineering problems we struggle with today. As we wrap up our deep dive into the armadillo's incredible shell, it's important to appreciate this creature for what it really is: a survivor, a masterpiece of evolution, and a vital part of its ecosystem. Armadillos help control insect populations, aerate soil as they dig, and provide food for larger predators, playing a small but key role in the balance of nature. Their unique armor is not a gimmick or a myth. It's a millions of years old adaptation that has allowed them to thrive across continents, outlasting ice ages, changing climates, and countless predators. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel